TV9 Digital. I am Adarsh Vepacheru. COVID-19, is it just a lung disease or a lot more? As months go by, we are getting clearer answers to this question. COVID-19 isn't just a lung disease, but it is said to be causing blood clots, making it a disease about blood vessels as much as about the lungs. Dr. Amrish Satwik, vascular and endovascular surgeon at Sir Gangaram Hospital in Delhi, has been treating patients with blood clots caused due to COVID-19. I had a word with him to understand what was going on and what his observations were, and this is what he had to say.
I am a vascular and endovascular surgeon, and that means a specialist on tonsils. And we discovered almost a year ago that COVID was as much a vascular disease as a disease of the lungs. What that meant was that when the virus enters your system, it attacks the lungs, particularly the inner lining of the air sacs of the lung. And the next door neighbor to the air sacs of the lung are the tiny capillaries and the blood vessels in the lung. The virus also attacks the inner lining of the blood vessels in the lung and produces microclots or microthrombi within them. And a large part of the complications that you see in the lungs are not just because of pneumonia, but also because of the thrombosis or the clotting that is taking place in the lungs. So COVID has been understood as a vascular disease as much as a disease of lungs. And because blood vessels are everywhere in the body, so complications of COVID can involve practically any organ.
I then asked Dr. Amrish about the types of blood clot formation and how dangerous can they be.
So let me unpack the basics for you. A clot is a colloquial term. The medical term is a thrombus. A thrombus or a clot is the final product in a process called coagulation. So what happens is that, let's say you're injured and you get a cut on your skin, you will notice that it bleeds for a little while and then the bleeding stops. This is because of the process of coagulation. So what's happening is that liquid blood is turning into a gel, and then the final product is a sort of seal or a plug which stops the flow of blood. This is the process of coagulation. And as I said, the final product of this process in this cascade is the thrombus or the clot. Now, clotting is supposed to be beneficial in cases of trauma and injury to prevent hemorrhage, but abnormal clotting can take place within blood vessels. Now, in case you've got a spontaneous clot forming inside of blood vessels, it is going to form a plug or a cast and completely cut off circulation to a certain part of the body or cut off drainage from that part of the body. And that can have disastrous complications. If a clot is developing in the veins, which are the blood vessels that convey blood back from a certain organ to the heart, then that is known as deep venous thrombosis. And that those clots have the potential of actually breaking off and migrating and traveling to the heart and lungs and causing a lethal condition called pulmonary embolism if not treated and treated adequately. Conversely, if a thrombus or a clot is developing in the arteries, which are blood vessels which are conveying blood from the heart to various organs, then that would produce an acute circulatory cutoff and would endanger that part of the body. If blood flow is not restored urgently, then that part of the body will suffer irreparable damage and may require either an amputation or excision in one way or the other.
So which group of population is more susceptible to blood clots? How can they be treated? And are blood thinners one way to go about it?
So we're kind of learning on the fly. We're still learning about this disease, and we haven't unlocked many mysteries associated with this disease. And one of these puzzles that we haven't quite cracked is who exactly is susceptible to the complications of COVID. Is it a sort of genotype of an individual? Is it a sort of inherited mutation in a subset of people that is making them more susceptible? Because it seems like Russian roulette. What seems to be happening is that even in many cases, the elderly might have just a mild form of the illness, and the young people who are able-bodied and athletic and built and otherwise completely fit you'll see might suffer some complications, might end up in ICUs, might require ventilatory support, and some of them might even die. So it seems like the Russian roulette. You don't know which one is going to fall. And we're still working on what exactly it is that is making individuals susceptible. Is it a kind of deficiency of interferons or a problematic innate immunity in an individual that is causing these complications? We still haven't figured that out. But what we do know is that in those individuals, particularly with moderate and severe COVID, who are demonstrating a very rapid rise in their inflammatory markers, and you can find this out if by a series of blood tests, which are usually done at the end of the first week, usually on day 5, or as the patient is progressing from the first week to the second, and if he or she continues to be symptomatic and experiences an increasing intensity of symptoms, then some of these blood tests might be indicated. And if you find that these inflammatory markers are rapidly rising and are completely off the charts, then these are the individuals who might be candidates for potentially developing complications of COVID. And some of these individuals might even suffer clotting complications of COVID. So therefore, you must constantly be in touch with your primary care physician if your symptoms are not abating by day 5 or day 6, and there might be an indication for some of these tests to be done.
If you like the information that I've presented to you, make sure you like and share this video, and yes, subscribe to TV9 Digital on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Until next time.